Hi, thank you for joining us today as we talk about teaching the alphabet to our youngest learners. If you are a kindergarten teacher, then you know that you have a front row seat to the unbelievable journey that happens to a little child who joins the class at the beginning of the year, knowing just a couple of letters, and somehow miraculously they end up at the end of the year as a reader. It's a humbling experience, and every kindergarten teacher understands the intensity of our job. To get our students from non readers to readers is a job that I know you take seriously. It's a job that I take seriously. Not only is it the core of our kindergarten curriculum, but it's the part of learning that makes our children either love school or hate school. Our job is to begin the love affair with school. We want our students to be excited to come in every day, and we need to teach them in a way that doesn't crush that love. My name is Della Larson, and I have been teaching in the primary grades for over 34 years. I know, it's a long time. In that time, I have seen the push to make kindergarten more like first grade. We are constantly being told rigor, rigor, rigor. It's pushing our kids to that high stakes test they have to take once they get to third grade. And in our rush to test, we often skip over the most important part of teaching children to read: letter knowledge. So you are in the right place if you care deeply about your kids' success, you're willing to embrace new ideas, and you want your students to have the very best foundation you can give them. Let's get started talking about reading groups in kindergarten. Kindergarten reading groups often don't involve any reading in the way that parents typically think. Our students may not actually read "I see the fat cat" until the end of the year. But don't be fooled. The groundwork that is laid in the first half of kindergarten is crucial to being a successful reader. So, what do we need to teach our students about letters? The very first thing that we need to make sure they know is that they're noticing the graphic characteristics of each letter. Some letters have long sticks, some letters have short sticks. There are circle letters, no circle letters. We need to make sure that our students are carefully looking at letters to determine the distinctions between the letters. We need them to recognize the letters, to be able to match them, to be able to sort letters so that they're really noticing the differences, those small differences. We can't skip over this step or rush through it, or our students will struggle. Our students need to know the names of the letters. This is the vocabulary of the classroom, and they need to be able to quickly identify the name of each letter. We really need them to notice the differences. All letters that they see will be in different fonts depending on the print that they see. Will they know the letter in every single font that they see? We need to give them time to practice this. We also need them to make letters, to form letters, to actually hold letters in their hand. This is the beginning of writing. And we need them to know letter order. Children need to be able to quickly find letters, and if they know the letter order, it makes it so much easier for them. So we need to make sure they know the C comes after the B. These are all critical parts of teaching our students about letters and about the alphabet, and it's all connected under letter knowledge. So how do we accomplish all these skills? I have a great way for you to teach the alphabet, and it's using boom cards. Boom cards are self-checking. Did you get that? Self-checking digital task cards that gives our kids immediate feedback onto what they are working on. It is basically digital education that makes sense. Let me show you how we can teach each of those factors in letter knowledge through boom cards. So the very first step we need is for our students to make the distinctions in letters before they begin to match the sounds to the letters. It's so important to spend a little extra time on this crucial step. And with boom cards, we can have our children manipulate the letters so that they can have practice. The students can sort long stick and short stick letters, circle letters with stick letters. They have time to get immediate feedback on whether they're doing it correctly or incorrectly. Our students have time to make mistakes, and boom cards will send them back so that they don't sit at a center making the same mistake over and over again. If we give our students our boom, they can go to work and they can sort those letters quickly and effectively. And we know that they know the differences. We need to establish a routine for our students to recognize letters. The routine of sorting letters will be helpful to children who haven't fully noticed the details of the shapes of the letters or who don't know the letter names. By sorting letters, it gives our students the ability to check closely at what the letters look like. With boom cards, if they make a mistake, boom will send the letter back so they again are not making the same mistake over and over. This is a crucial part of sorting upper and lowercase letters. Again, it's focusing on the individual features of each letter to be able to truly see what each letter looks like. As our students grow in their understanding of letters, they need to know the names of the letters. The letters are the tools that they will use to learn to read, and they need to know the names of these. It's the vocabulary of our classroom. And when we use boom cards, it allows them to not only match the letters, but as they're working, hear the letter. This is the letter A. This is the letter B. This is the letter C. So even if they are making mistakes, boom allows them to adjust their practice to make sure that they don't make the same mistake over and over again. That immediate feedback is so crucial to our children having a firm grasp of the letters. To talk about learning the alphabet without really stressing how important it is for our students to notice the differences. With boom cards, our students are able to match the letter regardless of the font. It gives the kids an opportunity to show that they understand that each letter has a specific shape. It is the same letter regardless of which font it's in. Again, boom provides the volume that our kids need to hear the letters as they are working. One of the most amazing features that Boom offers is the ability to have video. So we can give our students direct instruction while they are working. Watch how the video supports the learning. Let's learn the alphabet. Here comes A. A says ah. Here comes B. B says. So the children watch the video first and then they move into the deck where they get extended practice. This is the letter A. The students then are able to use their knowledge of noticing differences. This is the letter N. to make sure they are identifying the letter regardless of the font. And as always, it's self-checking. We also want our students to make letters. Now, nothing is going to take the place of using a pencil or a marker to actually draw the letter. But another way for our students to see the form of a letter is by building them. And whether you're using Play-Doh or blocks in the hands-on center, we can also use boom decks to build a letter. In this deck, the students not only hear the letter, "This is the letter A," but they start to manipulate the trackpad to move the blocks to form the letter. My students love building letters with their fake Legos. As you can see, letter knowledge and understanding the alphabetic principle is somewhat complex for our little students to get. But where do we start? And our first step is always assessment. And most teachers I know have a love-hate relationship with data. But when we use that correctly, our assessment should drive our instruction. We need to know what our kids know before we can teach them something new. So what if I told you there is an easier way to take data than sitting one-to-one with each student? It's true. With boom cards, they will take the data for us. And the best part? The kids have fun while Boom does all the work. Taking data for data's sake is a waste of time for everyone, for kids and teachers alike. And I love any quick and dirty strategies for taking data. And using boom cards is exactly that. It should be our goal to be intentional when we teach. And if we need to know what we're going to teach, we need to know what the children need to know. So we have to know where they stand. Using boom cards as a form of assessment makes taking that assessment fun for our kids and easy for us. Watch how Boom takes our data for us. Find the letter A. Find the letter B. Find the letter C. As always, Boom will self-correct the kids so they get immediate feedback so they don't continue to make the same mistake over and over. The best part, your kids are going to ask you to use the boom cards, and you'll be able to be working with another group while you're doing your assessment. Can you imagine? The most powerful tools that boom cards give us is the ability to use direct instruction. Our students can use the video feature on Boom to get an engagement that they can't get anywhere else. Watch how the video gives the children the direct instruction that they then go and practice. Are you ready? Let's read! A, S, Q. The students watch the video, and then when the video is done, they can use the deck to support their learning. Find the letter B. Find the letter C. All the while, the children are getting incredible supports through both sound and that video. Your special ed and ELL students get tremendous support because they get both the video, direct instruction, and then the support of the sound with immediate feedback. These are powerful tools in teaching our students the alphabet. Understanding that the letters of the alphabet each have specific names and that there's an uppercase and lowercase letter is critically important for our students, and it gives them an entry into the understanding of the alphabetic principle. That principle that the letters and the sounds are related. It helps our kids with the language of the classroom. When they practice with boom cards, they are also getting direct instruction because with boom cards, there is a sound feature. So watch how the children are matching the upper to lowercase letters, but also receiving the extra scaffold of sound while getting their information done with self-checking.
This is the letter A. Find the lowercase a. This is the letter E. Find the lowercase e. This is the letter I. Find the lowercase I.
The fact that the children get that immediate feedback without feeling like they're failing makes them feel confident. So many of our students won't answer, won't participate until they know for sure they're going to get it perfectly well. Even at 5 years old, they know they don't want to look foolish in front of their friends. So when they work on a boom card, they can get that immediate feedback on an incorrect answer without feeling bad about themselves. It gives them the opportunity to continue to learn, to practice, to have that repetitive practice, to really understand the letters and their letter names and how they go together and that they're always the same without any risk of failure in front of their peers. What about the standards? Whether you agree with the Common Core or not, for many of us, it will dictate what our administrators expect to see in our classroom. And under the category of print concepts, we find the goals for letter knowledge. The literacy goal K1D states that children must recognize and name all upper and lowercase letters of the alphabet. And the literacy K1 is demonstrate an understanding of the organization and basic features of print. If you use dibbles in your classroom, you know that you have to work on the difference between a letter and a word. And by spending the time at the beginning of the year focusing on letter knowledge, on the alphabet, you will be able to make your children get to that benchmark. But what if you teach in Texas? The Texas standards are different. And I know, and you cannot use Common Core, but the TEAC standards are the same. The TEAC standard K1B says that students will identify upper and lowercase standards. Excuse me. The TEAC standard says that your students will identify upper and lowercase letters. But what does NACCE say? For anyone who works in early childhood education, you already know that NACCE is the gold standard for everything kindergarten. So what do they say about learning to read and letter knowledge? And how does this align with building your NACCE portfolio? Well, the standards E03 and E07 tell us that our students have to have lots of opportunities to become familiar with print and that they are actively involved in making sense of print. We need them to be able to recognize and use print throughout the classroom, and this includes using it on iPads and Chromebooks. And our students are given plenty of opportunities to recognize letters. So if you are building your NACCE portfolio and you have a student working on a boom deck, take a photo and put that under the E03 or the E07 standard. If your administrator is anything like my administrator, then with each lesson that you provide to your students, they want to know what scaffolds or differentiation you're using in your classroom. Well, Boom couldn't make it any easier. With the addition of sound, and video, our students are getting that scaffolding, that differentiation that makes it easier for them to access the curriculum. By giving all students the addition of the sound and the addition of that direct video instruction, we are providing the differentiation that all students need to access the curriculum. Boom gives us additional flexibility because not only is it available on our desktop, on our laptop, on our iPads, on our Kindle Fire, make sure it's HD8, and even our phone. Using Boom on a smart board can bring a group activity to a level of engagement that you have yet to see in your classroom. The best part, Boom has been given the Academics' Choice Smart Media Award winner, so you can feel confident using Boom cards in your classroom. Don't be fooled. There is a very big difference between being a passive viewer on a screen and being an active participant. Boom cards demand that the children are active participants when using the screens. This is what we all need to see in our classroom, and we can feel confident when we're using Boom cards. One of the things that makes Boom so powerful is that you have access to the reports feature. So here you can look at the student's report and see their accuracy level. This student got a 65% accuracy on finding the letters. So that child is struggling, and we need to look deeply at why they're having such a hard time. So we can look closely at the data to determine what our next step is. Here, Boom will actually show us the incorrect answer. So we can take a deep dive at what the student is not understanding. Here you can see it's an M and they went with a W. So let's look at their next slide and see what we notice. Here they got the O instead of the Q. So you can start to see that the incorrect answer is from the students struggling to notice those differences. Once you have that information, now you can determine your next step so much easier. So are you ready to try? I know once you start using Boom cards in your classroom, you will be hooked. Your kids will beg you for more. And I know if you just start with one, your kids will not be satisfied. So I've put all the decks that you saw in this webinar in one big bundle. All 11 decks are available to you for just $25. You can get them all at this bit.ly. Make sure you use the lowercase letters, or you can search my TPT store or my Boom store for the alphabet bundle. But don't worry, you're not alone. I have videos that will walk you through setting up your class, assigning decks, and creating picture logins. And always, you can contact me at dellalarsonsclass@gmail.com. I'm telling you, once you start Boom cards, you will be addicted to them, and so will your kids. It's going to transform how you use WordWork centers, literacy centers, and I haven't even shown you the math centers. I hope that you'll give it a try and reach out to me with any questions.